Good afternoon. Welcome to the New York State Bridge Authority meeting. We have a government committee meeting that we're going to start first. I'd like to adopt the committee members are myself as chairman, Roger Higgins, and Dane Lashaw. We have the March 21st meeting minutes before.
Move to adopt the minutes.
Second. Any discussion? If not, roll call. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We have to review the New York State.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, it's the Bridge Authority Uniform Code of Conduct. This is a compilation of a number of personnel policies that bring the authority into compliance with Executive Law 4A and the combination of requirements placed on the authority by the Joint Commission on Public Ethics, the Authority Budget Office, and the Inspector General's Office. These have all been combined into a one code of conduct for all employees of the Bridge Authority. Each employee is required to receive, understand, and acknowledge these on an annual basis. We'd like to incorporate this as a document into the authority's policies and procedures, and would seek the board's acknowledgement of that.
Accept the document, Mr. Chairman?
Second. Second. Any discussion? If not, we'll accept it from our committee and move it forward to the board.
There is a resolution attached that's been distributed to all board members that can be considered in the board meeting.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? If not, any other business?
No, sir.
No other business? Motion to adjourn? Second?
Second.
All in favor say aye. Thank you. Next, we'll start our meeting, our June 20th meeting, our regular scheduled board meeting. Motion to adopt the regular board meeting to May 16th.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next, engineering, Mr. Bill.
Right here.
Bill.
Annual board meeting.
All right, well, before we proceed, we have to adopt another set of notes.
Move to accept
May
minutes
16th.
minutes of the annual meeting.
Manual,
I vote it is adoption of.
the annual meeting. Any other discussion? If not, roll call. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All righty. CSXT, Flagging Services.
Yep, this is related to the deck replacement project down at the Newburgh Beacon Bridge. Again, these services are for railroad protection services from the railroad. They provide their own flagmen. So Carl's office has reviewed the agreement, and we'd like to recommend award for this 3-year term in the amount of $158,029.
Second. Discussion. Roll call.
Is this
I'm
really,
sorry.
I mean, this, I've seen this a number of years I've been on there. And what do they really do?
Well, theoretically, they're there to make sure we don't foul the tracks and there's no incident between us and the train service.
And how often have you been negligent of,
No, we've never done anything during construction. We had a little storm-related accident one time, but there was no, falling or hanging material or whatever to crowd the tracks. But it's an industry standard. There's no real way around it.
it's an old standard? Yeah, okay.
And they provide the flagmen. We're not, I guess, qualified to do that part. So
We need to postpone it.
No, that's all right. The only other, we have to hire their people to do such?
yeah, just until we actually build our underdeck shielding over the tracks. Then, once the tracks are protected with a permanent or semi-permanent platform, then the flagmen can go home and they come back at the end of the job when we disassemble that shielding. So it's a couple of weeks on either end of the job, but over the course of the 3 years, they're on call.
And are they liable for any accidents?
No. Carl almost joked. No, it's all on us if it's related to
No, there's
the...
nothing about this contract that's good.
All right, on
There you
the,
go with that legalese again.
on the resolution. We did move it and second it, correct? Yes, okay. Any other discussion? If not, roll call. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next.
Next is a contract, a service contract with TransDign, our general IT Maytag repairmen for cameras and electronic equipment through our toll booths, variable message signs, what have you. There was a contract awarded in 2010 with a 3-year term with an option to extend it to additional 1-year periods. So we're asking that the board consider extending this maintenance contract 1 more year in the amount of $125,000. We did complete last year's work just slightly under budget, and we're very pleased with the capability of their crew.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call. All in favor, say aye.
Thank you.
Tollgate purchase.
Our toll gates have been taking a beating lately. We've been working hard to find a substitute for the Trimmy gate, which of course is compatible with all the other Trimmy toll equipment we have. ACS from Port Washington does make a compatible replacement. We've tested it. So we do have this expense allowed for in our capital improvement program. So we'd like to ask to buy 6 gates from ACS. 4 will be used immediately and 2 for spares. And the purchase is over $26,000, so we're coming to you for approval.
Discussion. Roll call. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next, Worth Elevator Repair Retaining Wall.
All right, this one, we were moving really fast, but we seem to have hit a stone wall, so to speak. I was expecting the price from the on-site contractor that's building the elevator, but I got an email from him today. They still need some more time. I explained that I won't get authorization or won't have the opportunity to have this work authorized till next month, which makes for a really short schedule on their part. But they said that's not a problem. They'll be able to accommodate.
You want to table this?
Yeah, I have no dollar amount.
He doesn't
So,
have a dollar amount.
So the amount that's,
Contract.
what about the estimate you have included in here?
yep, that was from our engineers. So I haven't really shared that with the
200
contractor.
some thousand, huh?
But,
Wait,
well, yeah, we're still waiting for their actual price.
All right, so why don't we move to table
whose
this?
actual price?
The contractor that's going to do the repairs.
It says retaining wall could pose a hazard to pedestrian traffic. Well, pedestrian, that's the
That's-
Parks Recreation's problem.
That's the problem. It's changing from a
It's our wall.
secured area where there's no pedestrian traffic allowed to a public park. So that's what's kind of created this hazard. You know, there wasn't anybody hanging around down there.
You're right.
They're,
You're right.
It's
Is
like
that-
his tree is falling on your property. It's your pedestrians on your property, but it's his tree.
Motion to table it.
But previous pedestrians were not allowed there.
Correct, but now they are.
I see.
Will be,
Will be.
when this elevator opens. Correct?
Yeah, this is, I mean, if you look at the pictures,
Yeah.
you know, this is really it's not a stone wall that you can see around somebody's yard. This is a major,
It's a big, yeah,
I mean, this is big time.
big retaining
So
wall.
I'm confused.
But it's in an area that we never had
Is the price that you
Right.
got
public
that
before.
sort of estimated it, and someone else is
Yeah,
actually
I
going
know.
to do the work, and they haven't
I've
given
seen
one
it.
Conversation.
Yeah, they-
I'm confused.
Yeah, we
That-
have,
That's exactly, Tara, is what, he's saying, that their engineering department estimated $200,000. He's waiting for the actual price from the on-site contractor to come in and give him a price that they're gonna perform.
Got it.
so it's
Correct?
correct.
Got it.
Well, they don't know that estimate either.
Now we've done it on TV, they all do, so.
So assuming they're watching, maybe they
I
do.
move we table it till next meeting.
Any discussion? Bill, can we? I mean-
Yep, that's-
All right, so we're tabling, all in favor, say aye.
Now, let me be clear here, because we're gonna get blowback from this for the delay. So it's the Parks Department contractor that said they're okay with our inability to execute this, which will cause a delay, and they're okay with that.
I got the email right here.
But you don't have a price.
Right.
Affect the construction of the elevator?
I don't know how it's not going to affect the construction of the elevator, but after the end of July, I guess it doesn't matter because nothing's going to be reimbursed. The grant expires at the end of July, so whatever elevator work they don't get
They're
done.
breaking ground Monday. They're having a big ceremony to break ground for the elevator. That's June 24th.
But the public won't have access
Guinness
to this.
set a record.
Until
record.
fall,
done.
apparently.
Done.
Right.
So what's the difference? Why would
The pressure's not on us, okay? The pressure in terms of our doing the job, getting it done. There is a arbitrary deadline for the project because there's a September 2013 deadline that all the paperwork for this federal era money that's paying for this project through DOT and Parks has to be processed, paid out, reimbursed. So it's one of these hurry up and wait projects that's been going on for 18 months that now, when they're in this, quote, crunch time to build it as much as they can before July 1 now,
Or August 1.
August 1, I don't want the Bridge Authority to be the excuse why the Parks Department failed to do this on time, DOT was able to process this properly, and why the walkway elevator may have cost overruns because the Bridge Authority is doing its due diligence. And that's the public perception I don't want to deal with. Because they'll spin it on us. You know what I'm saying? And we're not doing the wrong thing by tabling it. I totally agree if we don't have the right number. But I just want to be clear, they're accepting responsibility for the delay. It's not that we're injecting the delay.
could we allocate?
They didn't give us nothing to vote on. There's no money.
No, we don't have an estimate.
What's the email said, Bill?
You have opinion from council that in order to expedite, because they're already mobilized, it would be a greater delay to the project and probably more costly for the Bridge Authority to bring independent contractors in to do the work. We've got opinion council.
And to
this
go
is a-
through procurement. To go
Right.
through our
That
normal
he's
procurement
opined
process.
that this is the best way to deal with it. Parks is okay with it. The contractor's okay with it. And we, again, being as efficient as we can, because we were only handed this few weeks ago, have turned around a proposed solution, evaluated, and no other agency can move like this. But I don't want the burden and
Pretty
blame.
Sounds like we need a press release.
Well, no, I'm going to be dealing with the right agencies tomorrow on the phone over this because it's not going to be spinned against the Bridge Authority.
But the gist of it is he'll have to do the concrete repairs around the tower, because the tower will go up in July. So it's just that much more of a complication for him, but
Well, look, the public's going to be safe when this is open, and all this other stuff is public don't care about. It's back and forth between agencies, and the reason I'm being very clear about this is we've been in many meetings over the last 2 years on this project. There's this amount of money for the project, and there's this amount of money to be spent, and no one's talking about the gap. And it's all supposed to be reimbursed by federal money, and if they only could do this amount with federal, then this pot of money has to open up somewhere to pay for the balance of this. It's not our problem. That's between Parks, the walkway, and DOT. I just don't want to be the blame that they couldn't do as much construction before the reimbursable part from the federal government is going to be done, and say, well, we could have got it done on budget. Not saying it's over budget, but if the Bridge Authority had done what they've done more timely, we would have got more money reimbursed. I don't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? Because headed up here.
And we are not paying any additional money.
Not for the elevator itself. $0
All right.
We're only paying for work on our wall.
Correct.
that we just discovered because the due diligence wasn't done in time pre-construction to evaluate the wall. So we should have been notified.
18 months ago.
Right, right.
All right, any other discussion? If not, a motion to hold this over till next month. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Thanks.
Next, on-call bridge and highway repair contractor.
Yeah, we just wanted to bring to your attention, we awarded a contract last year for on-call services. It's a 3-year term, but the rate of deterioration on the north span, Newburgh Beacon Bridge deck, is well ahead of our projected rates. And, we're down there now working 2 or 3 nights a week doing full-depth concrete slab replacements in spotty areas. Some of them are highlighted in your package there. Rather than waiting for these things to show up and then deal with them on an on-call basis, after 3 or 4 of those, we decided we should get out ahead of this and replace all 18 areas that indicate their useful life is nearly over. So that means we're going to be up to about 50% into our budget for the 3-year term by the end of this summer. So we may come back to you down the road if we have other needs, because we're spending the money a little faster than we had projected, but we're still under the current budget that you awarded last year to Hudson Valley Bridge.
Ben?
One, I don't know how you call them, but one of her constituents complained about the heavy equipment delays on the bridge when while the construction was going on. And it was and I thought it really didn't. You've opened the other lanes. It looks to me like it's going great, but I'm not there at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Well, there's a lot of challenges. We escort heavy vehicles twice a day, every day, so there's a delay that people experience from that, and they usually don't know why. They're in line and they don't see an accident, and
But
they may be 10 minutes. And our maintenance guys are out there doing their regular stuff. The Majeski Masters inspection just finished up last month, so they had the snooper out. So there's a lot of activity. One little thing. Yesterday there was an accident around 4:30. So again, there was about a 3/4 of a mile backup in 5 minutes. There's just no extra room down there. But the contractor's keeping his end of the bargain. He gets a lane closure from 9 to 3, and he gets off on time. It's just the trucks are getting bigger. We get a lot of these tandem trucks now because of the price of gas. Everybody's loading up their truck to the maximum allowable weight, and the deck seems to be paying the price for all this additional heavy commercial traffic. We were hoping to get this deck to last another 4 or 5 years until we finish with the eastbound bridge deck. So we continue with that hope. Just going to take a little more effort. And I think that's all I have for you. There is
No action taken on this, just information. Also, jobs in progress.
We're back to work on the paint project after the 2 incidents from last month, so we'll probably be working Saturdays through the rest of this construction season to try to get back on schedule. Between the rain and the delays from the incidents, we're starting out a little bit slow here this year, but we're hoping to stay on schedule. But there is a
So
resolution.
you don't
of
have
the
any
jobs in progress.
concerns about any of the progress jobs?
No, I guess the walkway over the Hudson steel repairs, they were delayed from the weather in May and June as well, but they'll be finished in the next 3 weeks. Mid-Hudson's wind tongue has been rebuilt, so we got rid of our yellow flag condition. So everything else is down at Newburgh. Everything else is just about finished here.
Move to accept the jobs in progress report.
Second. Discussion, roll call, all in favor say aye.
Email.
Brian?
Good afternoon.
Brian, investment report.
First item is the investment report. For activity in the month of May, there were 3 transactions: the routine debt service, to the maintenance reserve, and the construction fund. Those investments are reflected in the investment inventory report. As you will observe, the maintenance and construction funds still retain approximately $102 million. Essentially, investment yield is down slightly in the month of April to 0.36%.
Move to accept.
Move. Second.
Second.
Discussion, roll call, all in favor say aye. 2013 maintenance reserve fund balance determination.
In accordance with Section 5.03 of the bond resolution, attached is a certificate of an authorized officer of the authority indicating the required balance in the maintenance reserve fund is $140,936,000. This balance is determined annually by resolution. It's the amount necessary to enable the authority to comply with the covenant contained in Section 7.12 of the bond resolution. It represents the March 2013 board-approved capital improvement program for the years 2013 through 15.
Move to accept.
Second. Brian, has that been increased or staying now? last year?
It would be modified with the change in the capital improvement program. It changed a little bit. Last year, we would have gone and taken the years 2012 through 2015 of the capital improvement program, and as we've changed the capital program, if you remember, the deck job was pushed back slightly because of the delays. So this year would be a little bit higher, but it really, overall, the entire capital improvement program in total has not changed materially.
Any other discussion? If not, roll call. All in favor, say aye. Thank you, Brian. Next.
Thank you.
Workplace Occupation Services.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Nancy.
This has to do with some open invoices that we have for calendar years 2011 through 2013 and a contract for 2013. Upon assuming the responsibilities of the Human Resource Department, I began reviewing the contract that NYSBA has with the workplace for the Employee Assistance Program, physicals, and random drug testing. And as a result, it was discovered that there were outstanding invoices for 2011 totaling $5,443.50. In 2011, we made payments to the workplace in the amount of $26,685.50. Once this outstanding payment is made, the amount paid to them for the year will total $32,129, and it exceeds the $30,000 threshold that's called out in the agreement and the amount that was established by the board. Currently, we maintain a 3-year contract with the workplace, which requires reauthorization by the board annually. During the transition period, we discovered that this contract hadn't been reauthorized by the board for the year 2013. After reviewing it, I felt that it would be of benefit to the authority to renegotiate the terms. What we'd like to put in is a not-to-exceed clause, so this wouldn't happen again, and it will prevent the workplace from providing services once that $30,000 threshold has been reached. If it's determined that we need additional services after that, we'll go to you and ask. And we'll ask, for written authorization from them at that time. They would need written authorization from us, excuse
We
me.
had that in 2010, 11, and 12, according to this. And they went beyond the
Well,
prices.
they were
No.
never aware of the cap. That's the problem.
There was no cap, there was a board-authorized cap.
Right.
There was no cap formally
Oh,
designated
to
in the
them, there
contract.
was no cap to them, but
Right.
we authorized as a board up to
When we
30,000.
started to review, when Nancy and Brian and everyone started to review the contract, it really was a loose contract, was basically a list of services and fees. And even though you have the 3-year contract with the 1-year extensions, we weren't really getting the benefit of 1-year extensions because annually the fees would change. So there was really no benefit to have 1-year extensions. It was one thing if you're holding the price down, but that wasn't even the case. So when the staff started digging into it, they realized that in 2010 it went over and wasn't brought to the board's attention, or we weren't even made aware internally that it happened. And as they started to dig through these years that, since I've been here, we want to level it all out and make sure it's done properly. And, with an authorization, and we reviewed the fee schedules and what type of services they're going to provide and how they provide it. We have a lot of contractual obligations with especially the maintenance men who mostly use this with the physicals and the drug testing. And the workplace even came, when they met with us, they had a bit of a mea culpa that they knew they were working without a contract. They knew that they weren't being paid, even though they were billing, and they still were providing it. So they've worked all that out, and going forward, we're going to have a better, tighter contract. Carl and I have to finish the details, and then there will be a checks and balances so we don't incorporate the authorization.
Why does it look like the expenses are going down? Are we using fewer of the services?
Actually, yes, we kind of looked into that, and 1 year we had the seasonals drug tested twice, and we found that to be superfluous. We didn't need them drug tested twice. So we are.
Also fewer employees, or?
No.
What happened
Oh,
was
it's field,
when
yeah.
I got here, we took a hard look at the seasonal work program, and it used to be they hired the seasonal worker, then did a random drug test, and several weeks later did it again. And for that small pool of employees, when the larger body of employees aren't treated that way, it was inconsistent. So we moved that We formalized how orientation was done. We made that the beginning of the hiring process. And once they were clean to work here, that was it. After 8-9 weeks, they're going to be gone. That was savings. And then we also made a decision not to administer flu shots on the campus anymore. We pay for everyone's medical. It's all part of their benefits.
It's included.
And where they used to do
And that
this
was
annually.
expensive.
And that was quite costly. So we're making decisions, coincidentally, bringing it in, and not to throw bombs, but
It's going
the
down
predecessor was
anyway.
on top of some of this stuff. So
Oh, really?
Sounds like you're getting in there.
we're trying.
Well, actually, you could have a contract that has a cap.
Mm-hmm.
What the agency you're dealing with, so that
Right.
once it reaches that.
They'll make
they
us
proceed.
aware.
Right, correct.
Yeah.
Or they're not gonna get paid.
But we're
Exactly.
actually gonna put in.
Well, the good news
provision
is-
that makes them put us on notice sooner when they get to
Right.
25 to
Mm-hmm.
tell us that they're approaching the cap.
And you have to find a narrow, good news story. They haven't been paid at all this year, even though we've incurred expenses, and it would have been within the cap had we had it in place. And that was one of the things between the predecessor and now that we didn't realize the contract had that. So,
All right, any other discussion?
Move the resolution.
Move it?
Yes, please.
Second?
There's
Okay.
no substantive changes
favor,
in
say
here.
aye.
It's just,
thank you.
actually,
Thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome.
No information services, operations. What we just had, right?
yeah, there's no, it's just typos that we're correcting.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
First thing I have is our, sorry, these yours?
Yeah.
I might need 'em. An invoice from Transcom for our annual open reach assessment. That's their web interface that allows us to log in and assess and see the regional traffic conditions throughout the area. The invoice is for the maintenance, operation, and expansion of that system. This year it's $16,126. They use that in the command center. So I'd like to pay that bill.
So, second. Discussion, roll call, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Transcom
Along with that,
assessment.
we got our annual assessment from Transcom back in March. A couple of the agencies objected to some of the technical additions, which amounted to $18,000. That was our share. They reviewed those additions. They determined them to be worthy. So we initially paid $47,000 of the annual $66,000 that we pay Transcom. Now that those are approved, they've sent us an invoice for the additional $18,240. That should be it for Transcom for the year.
We were aware that the board was made aware of this a couple of board meetings ago that was without. We knew and that when they resolved their own internal issues.
So moved.
Discussion, roll call, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
New York State Thruway Authority, first quarter,
It's our
2013.
first quarter invoice from the Thruway for Easy Pass expenses. You might notice that our per transaction costs have dropped by about a penny. And the number of, it doesn't sound like much, but our number of transactions over 2012 for the first quarter are up over 350,000, so more people are using Easy Pass here. That comes out to be almost 4,000 a day, more than in 2012.
So moved.
Second? Second. Discussion, roll call, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you.
Reports to the board, governance committee report, code of conduct, we had this presented earlier. Someone like to move it?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, roll call, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Executive Director's monthly activity report.
I don't have any expenses to report to the board. I don't go anywhere. So.
We have, go on,
I'm sorry.
We have made 2013 traffic revenue analysis.
Yep, you have a copy of the traffic and revenue analysis report, and year-to-date, we're still up in revenue over the previous year, which is a good news story, and for the second month in a row, traffic seems to be ticking up since a year ago, May. So hopefully that trend continues, because there was some concern, as you know, some of the earlier reporting that had we continued on a downward slide, that by year end we may have had a problem. So hopefully this carries throughout to the rest of the year, and we'll be fine in terms of revenue in the budget.
Any questions? If not, the May 2013 Easy Pass sales analysis.
We're getting a lot of media attention, that's for sure, over the Easy Pass sales. We're continuing to sell well over 1,000 tags a month, and hopefully we'll begin to start to see some, ticking up in the market share in our Easy Pass usage. We are seeing a change since the toll schedule went into effect in January 2012, and it's a good service we're providing the public, and they seem to be pleased with it.
You sending the traffic too fast over into Poughkeepsie down there?
No one is in a hurry to get out of Ulster County, I can assure you, Mr.
Any questions on that? If not, next.
I have, actually, under presentations to the board, you have a folder here. It is a summary report of the two safety incidents that occurred on the Newburgh Beacon Bridge that, as you know, got a lot of public attention. First being the May 21st incident with the scaffolding issue with the two work contractors that were hanging off the Newburgh Beacon Bridge. And the second was the June 6th event in the containment area, the Cancun area. Since then, we've asked for a full review, safety review, which has been done by Bill Moreau's staff, Kiska Construction, Pax Engineering, Jeff Wright, who represents the authority. OSHA is still doing its investigation. Carl's been working with them as well as Bill's folks. And the good news is, these two accidents could have been a very tragic event. Their safety harnesses did work as designed. The first incident, within a few minutes, the two men were pulled back up on the bridge and they walked away. Under their own auspices, they were fine. The second incident was the incident where, because of the nature of the construction in the Cancun area and the containment system, these painters actually work with their backs towards one another, so it's a safety thing with the blasting, so they're not shooting each other with their blast guns. It's not clear exactly how the contractor slipped off the beam. He was on a 45-degree part of the structure. One of his coworkers at some point noticed he was hanging from the structure. At no time was he in risk of dangling off the bridge. He was kind of in a built construction room, if you will, which happens to be under the bridge. Once that was noticed, one of the contractors turned to the other and shot one of them with the air gun to get attention, and then they shut down the system and started the response to help him with the first aid. And because he was hanging there for some time, EMTs had to be involved. He was helicoptered out of the situation. So it became quite apparent to everyone that there needed to be improvements to the rapid response to an employee in distress. And Kiska did some homework and some research, and we're going to be implementing what they call the PA2000. It's a personal alert system that they're going to be wearing on them, and it'll be attached to their harness. So if the harness were to be pulled, it would pull it out like a ripcord in a parachute. It would send off an audible sound. At the same time, it would go to a pager to the supervisor to know to begin the rapid response to help someone in distress. We are looking also to use that for our staff where they are working in isolated situations. For the most part, when the crews are working on the bridges, they're in view of one another and they're working in safe groups where that wouldn't necessarily be necessary. But there are times where our folks are underneath the bridges, they're not in view of one another, there's plastic or whatever's obstructing them. So it'll be the first time that this technology is being used in the bridge industry. It's something that's firefighters use and corrections officers use. If you all remember the news clips right after 9/11 and that eerie sound that was coming from the rubble of the World Trade Center, that beeping, that is these pieces of equipment. There's 3 ways of activating it: when the cord rips open, or if the employee is motionless for a while, or they can activate it themselves with like a panic button. So we announced that the other day, as well as some of the safety reviews, and while we're waiting for this equipment, there will be spotters in place to observe the workers. So we're taking the right steps, and after Bill and everyone reviewed everything that was going on, we felt confident enough to reauthorize the work on the bridge. Kiska's committed to the safety, they've said so. So, again, it could have been a much more tragic event. Their harnesses had worked flawlessly, thank God, and we've learned from this, and we're going to be meeting with the local first responders to do a tabletop post-mortem, if you will, of the event, and then to work with them on dealing with suspension trauma. This weekend, West Point is going to be doing an exercise on the Newburgh Bridge in Rescue, which was a previously planned event, but the timing of all this just highlights our commitment to bridge safety and helping train some of the first responders. So,
You had a good news release on YNN. You were interviewed and talked about it.
yeah, they were very interested in it. They wanted, it got a lot of attention. Let's face it. This helicopter landing in the middle of the Newburgh Beach. It doesn't happen every day. He did not pay the toll, but he had Easy Pass. So, no, but I think everyone did their due diligence here. Carl's been in contact with OSHA, and we're waiting to hear their final report and whatever recommendations they have, so we all can move forward.
Any questions? No? Thank Joe and his staff for all their hard effort they put in there. Just a couple other things. Any old business? New business?
The only thing that you have, is you can mention it.
Just regarding, we have a ruling back from New York State Joint Commission on Public Ethics. It was, we gave approval to the executive director to have an outside activity on the trustee for the Grinnell Library District in Town of Wappingers, and it was granted. So we already gave our approval on a resolution back 2-3 months ago, if I'm not mistaken. So they gave back, and they gave a little brief description of how they ruled on it. But it was granted, and there's no problem there. Secondly, we just had, prior to our meeting, that's why we're running a few minutes late. When we started, we had a presentation from our attorney, Carl Whitback, regarding ethics in state government, with the training course that we proceeded to do this afternoon. It was very informative, and we finished that as a board here. Any new business? Any attorney-client privilege? And I overlooked it because we were in a rush to move everything along, but I didn't introduce the commissioners, and I'm sorry about that. We have over here Rod Dressel, Ben Lashua, Assistant Executive Director Tara Sullivan, Roger Higgins, Joe Romaglia, our attorney Carl Whitback, Executive Director Joe Ruggiero, and myself, Richard Gerantine. Any other questions, concerns?
I move we adjourn.
Moving second. All in favor say aye. Next meeting is July 18th. Thank you very much.